Have you ever looked back at your family and noticed how certain patterns, good or bad, seem to repeat across generations? Well, the final chapters of Genesis take us through the lives of three key figures: Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. Today, let's talk about Isaac. His story is filled with joy, faith, and yes, some lessons we all need to hear. Isaac's story starts with a miracle. He was born to Abraham and Sarah when they were way past the age of having children. Imagine the joy of holding a promise fulfilled in your arms. That's why his name, Isaac, which means laughter, is so fitting. His parents literally laughed when God promised they'd have a son at their age. And, names in Hebrew weren't just names, they carried meaning, like how Abram meant father. But when God promised Abraham he'd be the father of many nations, he changed his name to Abraham, meaning father of many. Isaac's name, it's a reminder that God can turn even our disbelief into joy. Then there's the unforgettable moment at Mount Moriah. Isaac willingly allowed himself to be bound as a sacrifice when God tested Abraham's faith. Can you imagine that level of trust? Isaac showed a quiet, steady faith in God and his father's obedience. But here's where Isaac's story takes a more relatable turn. He made a mistake many parents can connect with: favoritism. Genesis chapter 25 verse 28 tells us Isaac favored Esau because he loved the game meat Esau brought home, while Rebekah, his wife, favored Jacob. That favoritism? It sparked rivalry between the twins, which eventually grew into fierce hatred between their descendants, Jacob's Israelites and Esau's Edomites. This struggle didn't end until God wiped out the Edomites entirely, and they no longer exist as a race. The last of the Edomites was King Herod. And here's the thing, Isaac wasn't the only one. And Isaac's son Jacob, he repeated the cycle, loving Joseph more than his other sons. That led to the heartbreaking moment when Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery. So what can we learn here? Favoritism isn't just a minor parenting flaw, it can ripple through generations, leaving behind pain and division. As humans, it's natural to connect more with one child than another. But the key is recognizing this and choosing fairness in how we love and treat our children. Isaac's life reminds us that while faith and trust in God are essential, so is self-awareness in how we treat those around us. His story, like all of ours, is a mix of God's blessings and lessons we're meant to learn. Isaac's laughter and faith brought joy and trust in God, but his favoritism, it's a cautionary tale. So as we reflect on his life, let's aim to embrace the joy of God's promises and learn from the mistakes that can hold us back. God's promises are for everyone, and his love shows no favoritism. Shouldn't ours do the same?